Hey gang, Jake here. The Legend of Korra is, in my opinion, one of the most underrated cartoon series in Nickelodeon's history. It's super fun, it's got great characters, and possibly most important for us today, it's got amazing action. Which is why I am super pumped for Korra's fighting game debut in Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl. Korra is a character with a rich deposit of styles and attacks to pull from, which is why I'm so excited to use her as my main. Today, I want to talk about just one possible moveset for the character, and do my best to represent her as well as I can. Before we begin, there's some general knowledge I should lay down. In case you didn't know, we've officially gotten a look at some movesets in this game, and man, I couldn't have predicted this. Instead of the usual tactic of inheriting Smash's moveset format alongside its basic structure, Ludosity has opted to change the system significantly, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but the way it's been explained to us is, well, less than enlightening. I'll do my best to explain how I understand it to y'all, but you should know that I could be very, very wrong, and we're just gonna have to wait until we get more details to know for sure. So from the movesets GameMill has posted to the game's Twitter, we know that gameplay has been fundamentally altered from Smash, so I'm gonna do my best to explain it from the ground up. Each character has access to 3 types of moves: light, heavy, and special. Special moves come in 3 variations: neutral, up, and down, and light and heavy also have these different inputs, but also have air versions for each of those attacks, and a dash attack. Grabs probably exist on some level, and taunts are still around, but it seems like super moves are gone, and each character is going to have around 17 moves. Not a ton, but still plenty to create interesting movesets around. Let's discuss some attacks from the series that could fill these roles. Korra is an interesting character because she's a super aggressive fighter, and she's got a ton of tools to pull from. As such, I want to design her as a sort of a counterpart to Aang. Where he'd be light, fast, and focus on wearing the opponent out, Korra would be much more aggressive. As such, she's a character with a lot of range, and moves that come out quick and easy, but still carry a ton of power. So first off, let's discuss the specials. The first will be based off of one of Korra's first antagonists, Tarlok. She'll throw a series of punches, each of which will fling an ice crystal across the stage. These are going to deal very little damage, but they'll cause a slowing effect as they freeze the opponent, meaning that if you're not careful, you'll rack up damage like crazy. Next is her up special, which involves propelling herself upwards with firebending, and will deal small burn damage in an area underneath her. Lastly, there's her down special, which will involve 2 different possibilities. If Korra's on the ground, she'll slam her foot down and summon a column of earth in front of her, blocking projectiles and launching any opponents into the air. However, if she's in the air, the column will appear underneath her, giving her some extra space to stand on until it collapses. Up next is the light attacks. For her neutral light, she'll use a series of jab punches, with each punch launching a small rock projectile forward. This deals so-so damage, but it's useful for setting up bigger attacks. Her air light is a flaming jump spin kick. She'll light her foot ablaze and then spin around, dealing damage both in front of and behind her. The up light is similar to the neutral, but at a different angle and using firebending as opposed to earthbending. For her air uplight, Korra will use this air palm fist directly upwards, launching the opponent sky high. The downlight is fire breath, one of the dopest techniques the avatar can use, placing a hitbox near the stage to keep opponents off of their approach plan. The down air light is a downwards fire kick, which deals heavy damage directly below Korra and grants a very small amount of recovery. Lastly, the dash light is a forward kick which brings up a wall of earth, pushing opponents away to throw off their stage control. Then there's the heavy attacks. Korra's neutral heavy is a powerful kick that launches a massive earth projectile forward. The kick is about as strong as a Terry side smash, but the rock is around the same level as K-Rool's blunderbuss, making this a dangerous move. The air heavy will be based off of this attack from the Zahir fight. She'll hover in the air momentarily to send a water shot forwards and not only deal significant damage, but also slow the opponent as she freezes them. For the up heavy, Korra will perform a Dragon Punch style motion, sending up a massive projectile of water. It's basically an exaggerated version of this hit that she landed on Tano. For the up air heavy, Korra will borrow a favorite technique from Katara, the Water Whip. She'll charge up a decent supply of water before unleashing a mid-range attack that kills efficiently but can be very hard to land. For the down heavy, she'll use this sweep kick that she employed against some bandits, but power it up with some airbending, knocking the opponent off their feet and far back. For her down air heavy, she'll use an attack similar to her down air light, but with air instead of fire, which won't deal as much damage, but significantly more knockback as a spike. Lastly, her dash strong, which is pulled from the air haymaker that she threw against Amon in the finale of Book 1. Now, we don't know that certain things like grabs as we know them are in this game, but just in case, I'm going to go ahead and talk about some. For the grab, she uses a metal bending trip move that she learned from Suyin, but use a water whip instead. For the throws, I'm guessing she'll have a variety at her disposal, but one could be her pushing the opponent to the ground, then flinging the ground underneath them far away. For her dodge, I'd like to see her use the airbending forms she used in Pro Bending, as they were a significant part of her growth as an avatar. Another thing we're not sure about is taunts, but if we get them, Korra could have some of the best. One could be her settling down to meditate before getting bored and standing back up. Another could be her striking a pose, like the one from when she claimed the title of Metal Bending Champion. And her last one could be getting into a stare down with either the nearest opponent or the camera. Lastly, as far as we know, super moves aren't in this game, but just in case they are, I want to talk about some that Korra could use. As tempting as the Avatar state is, I know that Aang would probably use it too, and I don't want to just repeat myself. For Korra's, we'll borrow her Spirit Giant form from Book 2. She'll earthbend a safe spot for herself to meditate, and then we'd see in the distance her giant form would stand up, and she'd prepare to launch a powerful laser. The player would then get the opportunity to aim it, similar to Zero Suit Samus's final smash, and then it would wipe out any opponents in its way. Last thing I want to talk about is some alternate costumes. I don't think characters in this game will have 8, but that's the number we're going to roll with. I'd give Korra her default look from books 1 through 3, and then variations of that based on Asami, Kuvira, Tenzin, Zahir, and her Spirit Giant form. I know it's a bummer to not have looks for Bolin, Mako, and Varric, but they'd be repped by her full alternate costumes, one of which is her Pro Bending gear from Book 1, and one of which is her Book 4 look, which shares similar colors to Varric. Overall, I think letting Korra be an intensely aggressive fighter whose main boon is range fits the action of the show really well, and while I'm sure she'll be fun to play no matter how it's handled, this is the way I'd go about it. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider liking and subscribing, and if you think you've got some better ideas for Korra's moveset, please let me know down below. I really want to thank Andres Rose Art for providing the thumbnail art and alternate costume art. He's always a joy to work with, and I'm grateful he was willing to come back. And if you enjoy their art, I've got their Twitter in the description and the YouTube in the card. And that's about it. I'll see you guys later. Peace.